For millennia, the Zarkon Empire ruled the known galaxy with an iron fist. Their towering, crystalline bodies glimmered in the light of 1,000 conquered suns, a testament to their perceived superiority over all other life forms. The Zarkon were not just physically imposing. Their mastery of psychic abilities and advanced technology made them seem invincible to the countless species they had subjugated. Grzik, a lowly data analyst in the Empire's Central Archive, sifted through reports from the farthest reaches of Zarkon space. His iridescent appendages danced over holographic displays, cataloging the endless stream of information that flowed into the heart of the Empire. Another day, another conquered world, Grzik muttered to himself, his crystalline voice tinkling like wind chimes in the cavernous archive chamber. Suddenly, an alert flashed across his display. Grzik's multifaceted eyes widened as he processed the information. "What is this?" he exclaimed, his crystalline structure vibrating with excitement. The report detailed the discovery of a new sentient species on a backwater planet in an unremarkable solar system. What caught Grzik's attention wasn't the discovery itself. The Empire encountered new races all the time, but the potential this species seemed to possess. "Skor, come look at this," Grzik called to his supervisor, his voice echoing through the archive. Skor, a larger, more ornate Zarkon, glided over to Grzik's workstation. "What is it, underling? This had better be important." Grzik's appendages trembled as he presented the data. "Look at these readings, sir. This new species, they call themselves humans. Their physical capabilities are extraordinary." Skor's crystalline form pulsed with skepticism. "Impossible. No species can match the Zarkon in physical prowess." "But sir, the data doesn't lie. These humans, they're adaptable in ways we've never seen before. Their endurance, their problem-solving skills, their sheer determination, it's unprecedented." Skor studied the information, his initial dismissiveness giving way to concern. This could be troublesome. We must inform the High Council immediately." As Skor hurried away, Grzik couldn't shake the feeling that something momentous was about to unfold. Little did he know, this discovery would shake the very foundations of the Zarkon Empire. Across the galaxy, on a blue-green planet called Earth, humanity went about its daily business, blissfully unaware of the cosmic spotlight now shining upon them. In bustling cities and quiet villages, humans laughed, loved, fought, and dreamed, all under the watchful gaze of Zarkon probes. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant astrophysicist, peered through her telescope at the night sky. For years, she had dedicated her life to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Tonight, something felt different. "Holy shit!" she exclaimed as an anomalous reading appeared on her computer screen. "This can't be right." The data showed a massive object entering the solar system, moving at impossible speeds. Elena's heart raced as she realized the implications. "We're not alone," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and fear. Little did Elena know, her discovery was about to catapult humanity into a galactic conflict that would test the very limits of human potential. Back in the heart of Zarkon space, the High Council convened in their crystalline citadel. Grand Imperator Zixfra, the supreme leader of the Empire, towered over his advisors, his form pulsating with barely contained energy. "So," Zixfra's voice boomed, sending ripples through the chamber, "these humans pose a potential threat to our dominion?" High Counselor Vexkor stepped forward, his elaborate crystalline structure glinting in the ethereal light. "Potential, yes, Your Eminence. But they are primitive, unaware of the greater galaxy. We could easily—" "Silence!" Zixfra interrupted, his form flashing brilliant colors of anger. "Have you learned nothing from our history? It is always the ones we underestimate that pose the greatest danger." The chamber fell silent, the assembled Zarkon counselors stunned by their leader's outburst. Zixfra continued, his voice now a low, menacing hum. "We will observe these humans. We will study them. And when the time is right, we will crush them before they can become a true threat." As the council meeting adjourned, none of the Zarkon could have predicted the storm that was brewing. Humanity, in all its chaotic, unpredictable glory, was about to turn the galaxy on its head. In the depths of space, a Zarkon scout ship hovered at the edge of Earth's solar system. Commander Zalrix watched the blue planet with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. Such an insignificant-looking world, Zalrix mused, and yet, it could be the key to our undoing. His second-in-command, Nixera, approached with a report. "Sir, we've intercepted more of their communications. These humans, they're constantly at war with each other. Their history is a litany of conflicts." Zalrix's crystalline form shimmered with intrigue. "Fascinating. A species that thrives on conflict. They may be more dangerous than we thought." As the Zarkon watched and waited, humanity continued its tumultuous journey, unaware of the cosmic forces aligning against them. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. In the coming days, weeks, and months, both humanity and the Zarkon Empire would face challenges that would shake their very foundations. The question remained, would humanity's unique traits be enough to overcome the seemingly invincible Zarkon, or would they be just another footnote in the Empire's long history of conquest? Only time would tell, and time was quickly running out. The day humanity had been anticipating with equal parts fear and excitement finally arrived. It was a crisp autumn morning when the Zarkon decided to make their presence known to Earth in no uncertain terms. Massive ships, their crystalline structures gleaming in the sunlight, appeared in skies across the globe. From New York to Tokyo, London to Sydney, people stood in awe and terror as these behemoths of unimaginable technology hovered over major cities. In Washington, D.C., President Evelyn Chan stood on the White House lawn, surrounded by advisors and security personnel. Her heart raced, but her voice remained steady as she addressed the world. "My fellow citizens of Earth, today we face the unknown together. I urge you all to remain calm and—" Her words were cut short as a blinding light erupted from the ship above. When it faded, a group of towering, crystalline beings stood before her. The Zarkon had arrived. Grand Emissary Zeklor, appointed by Zixvra himself to handle this first contact, stepped forward. His voice, a haunting melody of chimes and whispers, echoed across the stunned crowd. "People of Earth, we are the Zarkon. Your world now falls under our protection and rule. Resistance is inadvisable." President Chin's eyes narrowed. This was not the peaceful first contact they had hoped for. "We welcome you to Earth," she began cautiously, "but we are not a people to be ruled. We—" "Silence!" Zeklor's voice boomed, his crystalline form flashing with irritation. "You do not seem to understand your position, human. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to inform you of your new reality." Similar scenes played out across the globe. In Beijing, Premier Li stood defiant in Tiananmen Square. In Moscow, President Volkov's hand hovered near the nuclear briefcase. And in a secret bunker beneath the Alps, the European Union's leadership debated their response. Meanwhile, at the ISA headquarters, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team watched the events unfold with a mixture of scientific fascination and human terror. "My God," Dr. Sato whispered, her eyes glued to the screens showing the alien ships. "Their technology, it's beyond anything we could have imagined." Colonel Sarah Hawkins, who had been preparing for first contact scenarios for months, clenched her fists. "This isn't first contact," she growled. "This is an invasion." Elena's mind raced. "We need to understand them better. If we can just communicate, maybe we can." Her words were interrupted by a deafening explosion. The building shook, dust and debris raining down on them. "We're under attack," Hawkins shouted, already moving to evacuate the facility. "Move, people, now." As they rushed through the corridors, Elena clutched her research to her chest. "We can't lose this data," she panted. "It might be our only hope of understanding them." Outside, chaos reigned. The Zarkon ships had opened fire on military installations worldwide. Earth's defenses, despite years of preparation, seemed pitiful against the advanced alien weaponry. In orbit, Commander Zalrix watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of satisfaction and disappointment. "Is this truly the best they can offer?" he mused to Nixera. His second-in-command's crystalline form shimmered with unease. "Sir, reports are coming in. The humans, they're not surrendering. They continue to fight, even in the face of certain defeat. Zalrix's interest peaked. Interesting. Most species would have capitulated by now. These humans are either very brave or very foolish. Back on the ground, humanity's resistance was indeed in full swing. In the skies over London, RAF pilot Jackie Thompson zigzagged her fighter jet through a hail of alien fire. "Come on, you crystalline bastards," she shouted, letting loose a barrage of missiles. To her shock and elation, one found its mark, shattering a piece of the Zarkon ship. Yes, they're not invincible after all. Her victory was short-lived as her jet was hit, spiraling towards the ground. As she ejected, her last transmission crackled through the comms. "They can be hurt. Keep fighting." This news spread like wildfire through human forces worldwide, a glimmer of hope in the darkness of invasion. In the mountains of Afghanistan, a group of international special forces, led by Captain Miguel Sanchez, prepared for a daring raid on a grounded Zarkon ship. "Remember," Sanchez briefed his team, "we're not here to win. We're here to learn. Any tech, any intel we can grab might give us an edge." As night fell, they moved in. The battle was fierce, casualties high, but they managed to breach the ship's exterior. Inside, they found a world beyond their comprehension. "Holy shit," breathed Lieutenant Aisha Khoury, her eyes wide as she took in the alien interior. "It's like it's alive." They grabbed what they could, strange devices, crystalline shards, anything that might help, before fighting their way out. As they escaped into the night, the ship behind them began to rise. "We did it," Sanchez grinned, bloodied but triumphant. "Let's hope it was worth it." Little did they know, their small victory would play a crucial role in the battles to come. As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, both sides took stock. The Zarkon, while largely victorious, were puzzled by humanity's continued resistance. Humans, despite heavy losses, clung to hope, buoyed by small successes and an indomitable spirit. In the White House Situation Room, a battered but unbowed President Chun addressed her equally battered cabinet. "They may have the technology," she said, her voice firm, "but we have something they don't understand. We have the human spirit, and we will never surrender our home." Across the world, in bunkers and bases, in labs and living rooms, humanity echoed this sentiment. The Zarkon may have started this war, but humans were determined to finish it. As night fell on a changed Earth, both species prepared for what was to come. The Zarkon, confident in their superiority but uneasy at the unexpected resistance. Humanity, bloodied but unbroken, ready to fight for their very existence. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and the galaxy watched with bated breath. For in this conflict between the dominant Zarkon and the upstart humans, the fate of not just one world, but an entire galaxy hung in the balance. In the crystalline halls of the Zarkon capital, Grand Imperator Zixfra received the reports from Earth with growing irritation. "How is it," he thundered, his form pulsating with angry red hues, "that these primitive beings continue to resist us?" High Counselor Vex Kor stepped forward cautiously. "Your Eminence, it appears we may have underestimated them." Zixfra's form flashed dangerously. "Underestimated? Underestimated? We are the Zarkon. We do not underestimate. We conquer. We rule. We face a new challenge," Vex Kor interrupted, surprising even himself with his boldness. "These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered before. Their adaptability, their tenacity, it is unprecedented." For a moment, silence reigned in the hall. Then, to everyone's shock, Zixfra's form shifted to a deep, contemplative blue. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we need to reassess our approach. These humans may yet prove to be worthy adversaries or valuable assets." As the Zarkon leadership debated their next move, humanity prepared for a long and brutal war. A war that would push them to their limits and beyond. A war that would determine the very future of their species. The stage was set for a conflict that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. And at the heart of it all, the indomitable human spirit burned bright, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As weeks turned into months, The initial shock of the Zarkon invasion gave way to a grim determination across the globe. Humanity, faced with an enemy of unimaginable power, did what it had always done best: adapt, improvise, and overcome. In the ruins of what was once downtown Los Angeles, now a sprawling refugee camp, Dr. Elena Rodriguez hunched over a makeshift workbench. Her eyes were bloodshot from sleepless nights, her hands steady as she manipulated alien technology salvaged from countless battlefields. "I think I've got it," she muttered, more to herself than to Colonel Hawkins, who stood guard nearby. "If I'm right, this could be the key to understanding their communication systems." Hawkins raised an eyebrow, her battle-worn face etched with skepticism. "And if you're wrong?" Elena's eyes met the Colonel's, a fierce determination burning within them. "Then we're no worse off than we are now. But if I'm right, we might just have a fighting chance." As Elena worked, similar scenes played out across the world. In the flooded subways of Shanghai, a team of Chinese and Korean scientists reverse-engineered Zarkon energy weapons. In the scorched Sahara, African engineers repurposed alien force field technology to create safe zones for civilians. Humanity's greatest minds worked tirelessly, turning every scrap of alien tech into a potential advantage. But it wasn't just the scientists making breakthroughs. In the mountains of Peru, Maria Huaman, a young Quechua woman with no formal education, discovered that certain native plants could disrupt Zarkon sensory systems. Her knowledge, passed down through generations, proved invaluable in guerrilla operations against the invaders. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Zarkon found themselves in an unfamiliar position: frustration. Commander Zalrix paced the bridge of his ship, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "How is this possible?" he demanded, his voice sending ripples through the air. "We've conquered worlds 10 times more advanced than this backwater planet. Why can't we subdue these primitives?" Nixera approached cautiously, her form shimmering with concern. "Sir, our latest analysis suggests that the humans' greatest strength is not their technology, but their unpredictability." Zalrix turned, his form flashing dangerously. "Explain." "They adapt, sir. Faster than any species we've encountered. They take our technology, our tactics, and turn them against us in ways we never anticipated. It's as if chaos itself is their ally." Back on Earth, that very chaos was reaching a boiling point. In a secret bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva, world leaders gathered for an emergency summit. President Chen, her face gaunt but her eyes burning with determination, addressed the assembled dignitaries. "We stand at a crossroads. The Zarkon believe us beaten, but we know better. Thanks to the brilliant work of scientists like Dr. Rodriguez and countless others, we now have a chance. A chance not just to survive, but to fight back." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Hope, that most human of emotions, began to take root. But Chen continued, her voice growing somber. "This chance comes at a terrible price. The weapon we've developed, it could turn the tide of the war, but its use would violate every international treaty we've ever signed. We must decide, do we compromise our humanity to save our species?" The room erupted into heated debate. Ethical considerations clashed with the brutal reality of their situation. As arguments flew back and forth, a quiet voice cut through the chaos. Nelson Mandela, too, grandson of the legendary South African leader, stood slowly, his aged frame belying the strength in his voice. "My friends, my fellow humans, we face a choice that will define our species for generations to come. But let us remember, our humanity is not a weakness to be discarded, but our greatest strength. Whatever we decide here today, we must not lose sight of who we are, of what makes us human." His words hung in the air, a poignant reminder of the stakes they faced. As the summit continued, the war raged on. In the skies over what was once Europe, a daring raid led by Wing Commander Akira Tanaka struck a decisive blow against a Zarkon command ship. Tanaka's voice crackled over the comms as her squadron dodged crystalline shards and energy beams. "Remember your training. Use their size against them. We're wasps stinging a giant, small, fast, and deadly." Her tactics paid off. The massive Zarkon ship, unable to counter the nimble human fighters, crashed into the Alps in a spectacular explosion of light and sound. News of the victory spread like wildfire, igniting hope in resistance cells worldwide. Humanity, it seemed, was learning to fight back, but the Zarkon were far from defeated. In their crystalline cities that now dotted Earth's landscape, they began to change their approach. If brute force wouldn't subdue these humans, perhaps a more subtle method was needed. High Inquisitor Zexera, a specialist in information warfare, presented a new strategy to the Zarkon High Command. These humans rely on communication, on unity. We've been trying to break their bodies, but we should be breaking their trust. Divide them, turn them against each other, and they'll fall like any other conquered race. Grand Imperator Zixfra, his patience wearing thin, gave the approval. Do it. I want these humans kneeling before us, one way or another. And so, a new phase of the war began. Zarkon operatives infiltrated human communication networks, spreading disinformation and sowing discord. They exploited old rivalries, religious differences, and political divides. In the refugee camps of Eastern Europe, riots broke out as food shortages were blamed on specific ethnic groups. In North America, paranoia spread as people accused their neighbors of collaborating with the aliens. The human spirit, so resilient in the face of open war, now faced a more insidious threat: doubt. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, watching the news reports with growing horror, turned to Colonel Hawkins. This isn't like them. The Zarkon we've fought are direct, almost brutally honest in their conquest. This subterfuge, it's new. Hawkins nodded grimly. They're learning, adapting, just like us. The question is, can we see through their lies before it's too late? As humanity grappled with this new threat, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected quarter. In a small town in Ireland, a group of children playing in the ruins of a Zarkon outpost made a startling discovery. 10-year-old Siobhan O'Brien, her freckled face smudged with dirt, held up a pulsing crystal to her friends. Look, it's like it's talking to me. Unknown to the Zarkon, their psychic abilities, so central to their technology and culture, had awakened something long dormant in human DNA. As Siobhan and her friends played with the crystal, giggling at the strange sensations in their minds, they unknowingly took the first steps towards unlocking humanity's hidden potential. Word of the children's discovery spread quickly, reaching the ears of both human resistance leaders and Zarkon commanders. Both sides recognized the implications immediately. If humans could tap into the psychic realm that the Zarkon had monopolized for millennia, the entire nature of the war could change. As tensions rose and the fate of Earth hung in the balance, both humanity and the Zarkon prepared for a new phase of the conflict. The humans, battered but unbroken, clung to their newfound hope and unity. The Zarkon, faced with an enemy that continually defied expectations, began to question the inevitability of their victory. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of the galaxy itself. In the crucible of war, humanity was about to discover strengths they never knew they possessed, and the Zarkon would learn that true power comes in forms they had never imagined. The next move in this cosmic chess game would change everything, and as both sides prepared to make their play, the universe held its breath, waiting to see which species would emerge victorious in this battle for survival, for dominance, and for the very soul of the galaxy. The discovery of latent psychic abilities in humans sent shockwaves through both species. What started with a group of children playing in Ireland soon became a global phenomenon. Across the world, humans began to tap into abilities they never knew they possessed. In a hastily converted psychic research facility in New Zealand, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a group of the newly awakened, her eyes wide with wonder and a touch of fear. "Focus on the crystal," she instructed, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Don't try to control it. Just feel it." Siobhan O'Brien, the young girl who had first discovered the ability, stepped forward. Her small hand reached out, trembling slightly as she concentrated on the pulsing Zarkon crystal. Suddenly, the crystal lifted off the table, hovering in mid-air. Gasps echoed through the room. I can feel it," Siobhan whispered, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. It's like it's part of me." Colonel Hawkins, watching from the corner, let out a low whistle. Well, I'll be damned. Looks like we've got ourselves a game changer. As news of these developments spread, the Zarkon reacted with a mixture of disbelief and alarm. In their crystalline command centers, urgent meetings were called. Commander Zalrix, his form pulsating with agitation, addressed the gathered Zarkon leaders. This is unprecedented. In all our conquests, we've never encountered a species that could tap into the psychic realm so quickly. High Inquisitor Zexera, her crystalline structure shimmering with concern, spoke up. We must act swiftly. If the humans master these abilities, they could pose a genuine threat to our dominion. Grand Imperator Zixfra, who had been silent until now, suddenly erupted in a blaze of furious light. Enough! We are the Zarkon. We have ruled the psychic realm for eons. These upstarts think they can challenge us? We will crush them, once and for all. His declaration sent ripples of energy through the assembled Zarkon. The time for subtlety was over. The full might of the Zarkon Empire would be brought to bear against Earth. Back on Earth, humanity raced against time. In hidden facilities around the globe, those with newly awakened abilities trained day and night. The challenge was immense. They had to master in months what had taken the Zarkon millennia to perfect. In the scorched ruins of Sydney, a group of human psychics, led by former rugby player turned resistance fighter, Jack Thompson, prepared for their first major offensive. Remember, Jack said, his scarred face set in grim determination, we're not just fighting with our minds. We're fighting for our home, for our future. The Zarkon think they're unbeatable? Let's show these crystal bastards what humans are made of. As the human psychics launched their attack on a nearby Zarkon stronghold, the aliens found themselves facing an enemy they had never anticipated. Human minds, unburdened by millennia of rigid psychic traditions, approached the battle with creativity and unpredictability that left the Zarkon reeling. Jack's voice roared over the psychic cacophony, "Push harder! They're breaking!" And break they did. The Zarkon defenses, for the first time since the invasion began, crumbled under the assault. As the dust settled, Jack stood amid the ruins, his mind echoing with the cheers of his fellow psychics. "We did it," he breathed, a fierce grin spreading across his face. "We bloody well did it." News of the victory spread like wildfire, igniting hope in hearts across the globe. Humanity had struck back, and struck hard. But the Zarkon were far from defeated. Enraged by this humiliation, they prepared to unleash their full might upon Earth. In orbit, a massive fleet of Zarkon warships began to assemble, their crystalline structures blocking out the sun in a terrifying display of power. On the ground, Dr. Rodriguez worked feverishly with her team to understand and enhance human psychic abilities. In a secure lab deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, she made a breakthrough that would change the course of the war. "It's not just about raw power," she explained to a gathered group of military leaders and fellow scientists. "The Zarkon, for all their advancement, are rigid in their thinking. But humans? We're adaptable. We can use our psychic abilities in ways they've never even considered." As she spoke, demonstrations played out on screens behind her. Human psychics lifting impossibly heavy objects, communicating across vast distances, even manipulating the very fabric of space-time on a small scale. General Marcus Stone, his weathered face etched with both hope and concern, leaned forward. "Doctor, are you saying we can win this war?" Elena's eyes blazed with determination. "I'm saying, General, that we have a real chance. But it won't be easy, and it won't be without cost." As humanity prepared for the greatest battle in its history, the Zarkon launched their assault. From orbit, their ships rained down destruction on a scale never before seen. Cities were leveled, continents reshaped by the sheer power of their weapons. But humanity was ready. As Zarkon ground forces descended, they were met not with fear, but with fierce resistance. Human psychics, working in concert with conventional military forces, stood their ground. In the skies over what was once Beijing, Wing Commander Akira Tanaka led a squadron of fighters enhanced by psychic co-pilots. Their minds linked, pilot and psychic working as one. They danced through the air in maneuvers that defied physics and left the Zarkon reeling. "This is for Earth." Tanaka's voice rang out as her squadron tore through the alien formations. For humanity. On the ground, the battle was no less intense. In the ruins of Paris, Maria Huaman, the Quechua woman whose knowledge of plants had proved so valuable, now led a group of guerrilla psychics. They moved through the shadows, striking at Zarkon weak points with precision and power. "Remember," Maria called to her team, her voice steady even as the world burned around them. "We are the children of Pachamama, of Mother Earth. This is our home, and we will defend it." As the battle raged across the globe, both sides suffered heavy losses. The Zarkon, for the first time in their long history of conquest, found themselves truly challenged. Human unpredictability, combined with their rapidly evolving psychic abilities, made them a foe unlike any the Zarkon had faced before. In orbit, aboard the Zarkon flagship, Grand Imperator Zixfra watched the battle unfold with growing fury. His crystalline form pulsed with barely contained rage as reports of setbacks and defeats poured in. "How?" he thundered, his psychic voice shaking the very structure of the ship. "How are these insignificant beings resisting us?" Commander Zalrix, his own form dimmed with exhaustion, dared to speak. "Your Eminence, perhaps we have underestimated them. These humans, their dash—" "Silence!" Zixfra roared, lashing out with a psychic blast that shattered nearby consoles. "I will not accept defeat. Prepare the Worldbreaker. If we cannot conquer this planet, we will destroy it." A hush fell over the bridge. The Worldbreaker was the Zarkon's ultimate weapon, capable of shattering a planet's core. Its use was reserved only for the most extreme circumstances. As the Zarkon prepared their doomsday weapon on Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez made a desperate gamble. In a secure facility deep beneath the Antarctic ice, she and a team of the most powerful human psychics prepared to launch a counterstrike that would decide the fate of their world. "What we're about to attempt," Elena addressed the assembled group, her voice tight with tension, "has never been done before. We're going to reach out with our minds, not just across the planet, but into space itself. We're going to touch the mind of every human being on Earth, and together, we're going to strike at the heart of the Zarkon fleet." The psychics nodded, their faces a mixture of fear and determination. Among them stood Siobhan O'Brien, no longer a child playing with a crystal, but a young woman ready to fight for her planet's survival. As the Zarkon Worldbreaker charged up, preparing to deliver its planet-killing strike, Elena and her team began their desperate plan. Across the globe, humans suddenly felt a presence in their minds, a call to action. In that moment, humanity stood united as never before. From the deepest oceans to the highest mountains, from crowded cities to remote villages, every human mind joined in a singular purpose. The psychic energy generated by billions of minds working in concert surged upward, a tidal wave of human will and determination. In orbit, the Zarkon fleet was engulfed in a storm of psychic energy unlike anything they had ever encountered. Ships buckled and shattered, their crystalline structures unable to withstand the raw power of humanity's collective consciousness. Aboard the flagship, Grand Imperator Zixfra felt his own formidable psychic defenses crumble. For the first time in his long life, he knew fear. What are they?" he whispered, his once mighty form now dim and cracking. As the Zarkon fleet disintegrated, the psychic backlash rippled across the galaxy. On distant worlds, other subjugated species felt the shock wave and dared to hope. The seemingly invincible Zarkon had been defeated, and the galaxy would never be the same. On Earth, as the psychic storm subsided, humans everywhere awakened to a new reality. The sky, for the first time in months, was clear of alien ships. The Zarkon threat had been neutralized, at least for now. In the Antarctic facility, Elena and her team slowly recovered, the enormity of what they had accomplished slowly sinking in. Siobhan, her young face etched with exhaustion but glowing with triumph, turned to Elena. "We did it, didn't we? We actually did it." Elena nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, Siobhan, we did. Humanity did." As news of the victory spread, celebrations erupted across the globe. But amidst the joy, there was also a sobering realization. Humanity had changed. The awakening of their psychic abilities, the unity they had achieved in that final battle, These things had altered the course of human evolution itself. In the days that followed, as the dust of war settled, humanity faced a new challenge. Building a future in a galaxy they now knew was full of both wonders and dangers. The Zarkon had been defeated, but they were unlikely to be the last threat humanity would face among the stars. But for now, for this moment, Earth celebrated. Against all odds, facing an enemy that had dominated the galaxy for eons, humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes, the most potent force in the universe is not technology, not even psychic power, but the indomitable human spirit. As the sun rose on a free Earth, humanity looked to the stars not with fear, but with anticipation. The galaxy awaited, and they were ready to take their place among the cosmos. The war was over. The future had just begun. The defeat of the Zarkon marked not an end, but a beginning. As the dust settled on a changed Earth, humanity found itself standing at the threshold of a new era. The awakening of psychic abilities had altered the very fabric of human society, and the knowledge gained from reverse-engineered Zarkon technology opened up possibilities once confined to the realm of science fiction. In the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in Geneva, now a gleaming structure of glass and reclaimed Zarkon crystal, world leaders gathered to chart the course of humanity's future. President Evelyn Chun, her face weathered by years of war but her eyes bright with vision, addressed the assembly. "My fellow leaders, my fellow humans, we stand at a crossroads. We have defended our world, but in doing so, we have changed ourselves. The question before us now is, what do we do with this power?" The debate that followed was passionate and intense. Some argued for caution, for turning inward to heal the wounds of war. Others pushed for immediate expansion into space, to secure humanity's place among the stars. In the end, a middle path was chosen. Earth would rebuild, yes, but it would also reach out to the cosmos. The decision was made. Humanity would venture forth into the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as explorers and peacekeepers. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now heading the newly formed Galactic Sciences Division, stood before a massive holographic display of the Milky Way. Her team of scientists and engineers, a mix of veteran researchers and bright-eyed youths who had come of age during the war, watched in rapt attention. The Zarkon Empire spanned this region, Elena explained, gesturing to a vast swath of the galactic map. With their defeat, a power vacuum has been created. Our long-range psychic scans have detected numerous species, many of them former subjects of the Zarkon, now struggling to find their place in this new order. She paused, her eyes scanning the faces before her. Our mission is clear. We will make contact with these species. We will offer aid where we can, and we will learn. The galaxy is vast, and we are still newcomers. But we have something unique to offer, the human spirit that allowed us to triumph against impossible odds. As humanity prepared to take its first steps into the wider galaxy, changes were already rippling across Earth. The integration of psychic abilities into daily life led to revolutionary advancements in every field. In a state-of-the-art hospital in Nairobi, Dr. Amina Okafor demonstrated the latest in psychic healing techniques. Her hands glowed with ethereal energy as she mended injuries that would have been fatal just years before. The key, she explained to a group of awestruck medical students, is not just in the power we wield, but in the empathy we bring to the healing process. We don't just mend the body, we touch the very essence of life itself. Meanwhile, in the revitalized Amazon rainforest, Maria Huaman led a team of eco-psychics in an ambitious project to accelerate the regrowth of areas devastated by the war. Trees sprouted and grew at an astonishing rate under their psychic nurturing. "We are the children of Pachamama," Maria said, her voice filled with pride and determination. "Now, more than ever, we have the power to be true stewards of our world." But not all the changes were peaceful. In the criminal underworld, unscrupulous individuals sought to exploit the new psychic abilities for personal gain. Law enforcement agencies worldwide had to adapt quickly, developing new techniques to counter psychic-enhanced crimes. In the neon-lit streets of Neo-Tokyo, Detective Hideo Tanaka, brother of the famed wing commander Akira Tanaka, pursued a gang of psychic thieves. His mind reached out, scanning the crowd for the unique psychic signatures of his quarry. "Thought you could hide from me?" he muttered, a grim smile playing on his lips as he cornered the criminals in a dark alley. "You should know by now, in this new world, there's nowhere to hide your thoughts." As Earth grappled with its new reality, the first human starships prepared to venture into the unknown. The HSS Hope, humanity's flagship, stood ready in its lunar dock. A marvel of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered Zarkon technology, it represented the pinnacle of human achievement. Captain Zara Kruma, a veteran of the war and now the leader of humanity's first deep space mission, addressed her crew on the eve of their departure. "Tomorrow, we embark on the greatest journey in human history," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "We carry with us not just the hopes and dreams of Earth, but a responsibility to represent the best of what humanity can be. We have seen the face of tyranny in the Zarkon, and we have rejected it. Now, we go forth not to conquer, but to connect, to learn, and to grow." As the HSS Hope broke free of Earth's gravity well, cheers erupted in mission control centers around the world. Humanity had taken its first true step into the cosmic ocean. But the galaxy, as humanity would soon discover, was a place of wonders and dangers beyond their wildest imaginations. On a distant world, once a minor outpost of the Zarkon Empire, the indigenous species watched the approaching human ship with a mixture of fear and hope. Their crystalline elders, beings who remembered the harsh rule of the Zarkon, debated fiercely about how to respond to these newcomers. They defeated the Zarkon, one elder argued, her form shimmering with agitation. They could be even worse. Another elder, his structure weathered by age, countered, "But look at how they approach, not with weapons primed, but with open communication channels. Perhaps these humans are different." As the HSS Hope entered orbit around the alien world, Captain Kruma prepared for humanity's first peaceful first contact. The weight of history rested on her shoulders, but she stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "Open a channel," she commanded, her voice calm but filled with the gravity of the moment. "Let's introduce ourselves to the galaxy." Back on Earth, in a small Irish town, young Siobhan O'Brien, now a beacon of hope for the new generation, stood with a group of children, their eyes turned to the stars. "Do you think we'll meet friendly aliens out there?" one child asked, his voice filled with wonder. Siobhan smiled, her eyes twinkling with the wisdom of one who had seen both the horrors of war and the triumph of the human spirit. "I think," she said softly, "that we'll find the galaxy is full of surprises. But no matter what we face out there, we'll face it together. That's what makes us human." As night fell across the planet, billions of minds reached out, connected in a way that would have been unimaginable before the war. They touched the thoughts of their loved ones, felt the excitement of the explorers venturing into the unknown, and sensed the vast potential that lay before them. Humanity had been forged in the crucible of an interstellar war, emerging not broken, but transformed. They had faced the darkness and emerged into the light, ready to take their place among the stars. The age of humanity had truly begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. In the depths of space, aboard the HSS Hope, Captain Kruma's voice rang out, a message not just to the alien world before them, but to the cosmos itself. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and understanding. We are humanity, children of Earth, and we greet you as fellow travelers in this vast universe." As the message was transmitted, rippling across the star-studded void, the next chapter in human history began to unfold. The Zarkon had sought to dominate and destroy, but in their defeat, they had unknowingly ushered in a new era, an era where humanity, with all its flaws and all its potential, would leave an indelible mark on the tapestry of the cosmos. The journey that began with a desperate fight for survival had transformed into a quest for knowledge, understanding, and connection. Humanity, once confined to a single world, now stood poised to embrace the infinite possibilities of the universe. And as the HSS Hope prepared for its historic landing, the spirits of all those who had fought and sacrificed in the war against the Zarkon seemed to whisper across the vast distances of space. "Go forth, humanity. The stars await." As humanity took its first tentative steps into the galactic community, the remnants of the once mighty Zarkon Empire were in turmoil. The defeat at the hands of the humans had shattered not just their military might, but the very foundations of their society. On Zarkalax, the crystal homeworld of the Zarkon, Grand Imperator Zixfra faced the unthinkable, a rebellion from within his own ranks. The great crystalline spires of the Imperial Palace, once a symbol of unassailable power, now echoed with the sounds of dissent and conflict. Traitors! Zixfra's psychic roar shook the very foundations of the palace. How dare you question the divine right of the Zarkon to rule? Before him stood a group of younger Zarkon, their forms pulsing with determination and a newfound ideology. At their head was Nixera, once a loyal commander, now the face of a new movement. The humans have shown us the truth, Imperator. Nixera's voice was steady, her crystalline form glowing with an inner light of conviction. Our empire was built on subjugation and fear. But there is another way, a way of cooperation and mutual growth. Zixfra's form flashed with fury. You speak heresy. The Zarkon have ruled for eons. We will not be undone by these upstart apes. But even as he spoke, Zixfra could feel his power slipping away. Across the empire, on countless worlds, the story of humanity's victory had spread like wildfire. Species long oppressed by Zarkon rule began to rise up, inspired by the example set by the humans. On Viridian Prime, a lush world that had been stripped of resources under Zarkon rule, the native Viridians staged a daring uprising. Led by Jurax, a Viridian who had witnessed the human resistance firsthand, they overwhelmed the local Zarkon garrison. For too long, we cowered in fear, Jurax addressed the cheering crowd, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with excitement. But no more. The humans have shown us that even the mightiest can fall. Today, we reclaim our world. Similar scenes played out across the former Zarkon Empire. Worlds that had known nothing but oppression for generations suddenly found the courage to fight for their freedom. The Zarkon, their numbers depleted by the war with humanity and their forces spread thin, struggled to maintain control. Back on Earth, the reports of these uprisings were met with mixed emotions. In a high-security briefing room, President Chen met with her advisors to discuss the rapidly evolving galactic situation. We never intended to destabilize an entire empire, Chen mused, her brow furrowed with concern. Our fight was for survival, not to reshape the galaxy. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now serving as the head of Xeno diplomacy, spoke up. Madam President, intended or not, our actions have set off a chain reaction. The question now is, what do we do about it? General Marcus Stone, his face weathered by years of war, leaned forward. We can't just stand by and watch. If the Zarkon Empire collapses chaotically, it could plunge this sector of the galaxy into centuries of conflict. But we're not conquerors, Chen countered, her voice firm. We fought for our freedom, not to replace one empire with another. As the debate raged on Earth, humanity's first deep space expeditions found themselves thrust into the heart of the unfolding galactic drama. Aboard the HSS Hope, Captain Zara Kruma received an urgent distress call. The signal originated from a nearby star system, one that had until recently been firmly under Zarkon control. This is Kroll of the Aetherian Resistance, a desperate voice crackled through the ship's speakers. To any who can hear us, we need help. The Zarkon are planning to destroy our world, rather than let it fall to us. Please, if anyone is out there. The transmission cut off abruptly. Captain Kruma turned to her crew, her face set with determination. You all heard that. I know we're on a mission of exploration, but I'll be damned if we stand by and let innocents die. Helm, set a course for the Aetherian system, maximum speed. As the HSS Hope raced to the aid of the Aetherians, word of their decision spread rapidly through human space. It sparked a fierce debate back on Earth. Should humanity intervene in the collapse of the Zarkon Empire, or maintain a policy of non-interference? In the rebuilt United Nations, impassioned arguments echoed through the halls. Some advocated for a proactive approach, arguing that with great power came great responsibility. Others cautioned against overextension, warning that humanity could lose itself in trying to police a galaxy. As the debate raged, a familiar face stepped up to the podium. Siobhan O'Brien, now a young woman and a symbol of humanity's new potential, addressed the assembly. "We can't turn our backs on those in need," she said, her voice ringing with conviction. "We fought the Zarkon not just for our own survival, but because their rule was unjust. Now, we have the chance to help others break free from that same injustice. But," she paused, her eyes scanning the room, "we must do so with wisdom and restraint. We're not here to conquer or control, but to help and guide." Her words struck a chord. In the days that followed, a new policy began to take shape. Humanity would offer aid and support to those fighting against Zarkon oppression, but would not seek to replace the Zarkon Empire with one of their own. Instead, they would work to foster a new galactic community, one built on cooperation and mutual respect. As this new approach took shape, the HSS Hope arrived in the Etherian system. They found a world on the brink of destruction, with Zarkon warships preparing to unleash a planet-killing weapon. Captain Kruma's voice rang out across all frequencies. "This is Captain Zara Kruma of the human starship Hope. We demand that you stand down immediately. We will not allow the destruction of this world or its people." The Zarkon commander, his voice dripping with disdain, responded, "You dare to challenge us, human? You may have won one battle, but the Zarkon Empire still stands. Leave now, or be destroyed along with these rebels." What followed was a battle that would be remembered for generations. The HSS Hope, though outnumbered, fought with a combination of advanced technology and the unpredictable creativity that had become humanity's hallmark. Lieutenant Akiko Tanaka, daughter of the legendary wing commander Akira Tanaka, led a squadron of fighters in a daring attack run. Her voice crackled over the comms. "Remember what they taught us in the academy. We're not just pilots, we're extensions of our ships. Feel the battle, don't just see it." As Tanaka's squadron danced through enemy fire with almost precognitive skill, on the planet below, a team of human psychics led by Siobhan O'Brien worked frantically to bolster the Etherian defenses. Siobhan's mind reached out, touching the alien consciousness of the Etherians. "Your minds are different from ours," she communicated telepathically, "but your desire for freedom is the same. Together, we can stand against the Zarkon." The battle raged for hours, a desperate fight against overwhelming odds. But slowly, inevitably, the tide began to turn. The Zarkon, faced with a foe that seemed to anticipate their every move, began to falter. In a desperate last gambit, the Zarkon commander ordered his flagship to ram the planet, hoping to at least partially fulfill his mission of destruction. But he hadn't counted on the combined psychic might of humans and Etherians. In a moment that would be immortalized in stories and songs, Siobhan O'Brien, along with thousands of human and Etherian minds, reached out across space. Together, they created a psychic barrier of unprecedented power. The Zarkon flagship, moments from impact, crashed against this invisible wall and shattered into a million glittering shards. As the remaining Zarkon ships fled or surrendered, cheers erupted both on the planet and aboard the Hope. Humanity had not just saved a world, they had demonstrated a new way of fighting, one that emphasized protection over destruction, cooperation over dominance. News of the Battle of Etheria, as it came to be known, spread rapidly across the crumbling Zarkon Empire. For countless oppressed species, it was the final push they needed. Uprisings erupted on hundreds of worlds, and the once mighty empire began to collapse like a house of cards. On Zarkalax, Grand Imperator Zixfra watched in disbelief as reports flooded in of world after world falling out of Zarkon control. His once resplendent crystalline form was now cracked and dulled, a physical manifestation of his waning power. "It's over, Imperator," Nyxera said, her voice soft but firm. "The age of Zarkon dominion has come to an end. It's time to look to a new future, one where we stand as equals with other species, not as conquerors." Zixfra, his resistance finally broken, slumped in defeat. What becomes of us now?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Nyxera's form glowed with compassion and hope. "Now we learn. We grow. We become something new, something better." As the Zarkon Empire crumbled, a new galactic order began to emerge. Guided by humanity's example, former enemy species began to work together, forming alliances and cooperative ventures where once there had been only conflict. On Earth, President Chun addressed a global audience. Today marks the dawn of a new era, not just for humanity, but for countless species across the galaxy. We have been given an unprecedented opportunity to shape the future of our galactic neighborhood. Let us move forward not with arrogance or a desire for power, but with wisdom, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to freedom and justice for all sentient beings. As humanity stepped fully onto the galactic stage, they carried with them the hard-won lessons of their own history and their recent interstellar conflict. They had faced annihilation and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The fall of the Zarkon Empire marked the end of an age of galactic tyranny. But more than that, it heralded the beginning of something new. A future where the combined potential of myriad species working together could achieve wonders yet unimagined. As the HSS Hope prepared for its next mission, Captain Kruma looked out at the star-studded vista before her. The galaxy, once a place of terror and conflict, now beckoned with infinite possibilities. "Well, my friends," she said to her crew, a smile playing on her lips, "shall we see what's out there?" And with that, humanity continued its journey into the cosmic unknown, ready to face whatever challenges and wonders awaited them among the stars. A decade had passed since the fall of the Zarkon Empire. The galaxy, once dominated by a single, oppressive force, had transformed into a vibrant tapestry of cooperating species and cultures. At the heart of this new galactic community stood humanity, not as conquerors or rulers, but as mediators, innovators, and friends. On a terraformed Mars, now a thriving hub of interstellar diplomacy, representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the 10th anniversary of the Galactic Cooperative. The event was held in the Grand Crystal Hall, a stunning structure that incorporated salvaged Zarkon crystals into a distinctly human design, symbolizing the fusion of past and future. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, her hair now streaked with gray but her eyes still bright with curiosity, stood at the podium. As the head of the Xenocultural Exchange Program, she had been instrumental in fostering understanding between vastly different species. 10 years ago, she began, her voice carrying across the diverse assembly, we stood at a crossroads. The fall of the Zarkon Empire left a power vacuum that could have led to chaos and prolonged conflict. Instead, we chose a different path. She gestured to the assembled delegates, a colorful array of beings from across the galaxy. There were the ethereal Etherians, their translucent bodies shimmering with gratitude. The silicon-based Valkyrin, once bitter enemies of the Zarkon, now valued allies. And even a contingent of reformed Zarkon, their crystalline forms humbler but no less beautiful. Together, Elena continued, we have built something unprecedented, a galactic community based not on domination, but on mutual respect and cooperation. We have faced challenges, yes, but we have also achieved wonders beyond our wildest dreams. As if to emphasize her point, a holographic display sprang to life, showcasing the achievements of the past decade. It showed the first intergalactic transit corridor, a joint project that had shrunk travel times between galaxies from millennia to mere months. Another image displayed the Great Galactic Library, a repository of knowledge from thousands of civilizations, open to all who sought to learn. But perhaps our greatest achievement, Elena said, her voice softening, has been learning to understand one another, to see beauty in our differences and strength in our diversity. As Elena spoke on Earth, a very different gathering was taking place. In a small Irish town, Siobhan O'Brien, now a respected leader in human-alien relations, sat with a group of children, both human and alien. They were gathered in a meadow, the same one where Siobhan had first discovered her psychic abilities all those years ago. Tell us about the war, Ms. O'Brien, a young Valkyrin child chirped, its silicon-based form glistening in the sunlight. Siobhan smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. The war was a terrible time, she began, her voice gentle. We faced an enemy that seemed unbeatable. But do you know what made the difference? The children leaned in, their faces, human and alien alike, rapt with attention. It wasn't just our weapons or our psychic powers, Siobhan continued. It was our spirit, our ability to hope, to dream, to imagine a better future even in the darkest times. That's the real power of humanity, and it's a power we all share, no matter what planet we come from. As Siobhan spoke, Her mind reached out, gently touching the thoughts of her young audience. She shared not just words, but feelings, the terror of the invasion, the thrill of discovery, the joy of victory, and the wonder of the new galactic age. The children gasped and giggled, experiencing history in a way no textbook could convey. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the HSS Hope continued its mission of exploration. Captain Zara Kruma, now an admiral, stood on the bridge, her face etched with lines of experience, but her eyes still sparkling with the same sense of adventure. "New contact, Admiral," her first officer reported. "Unpopulated system, but we're detecting some unusual energy readings from the third planet." Kruma smiled. Even after all these years, the thrill of discovery never faded. "Well then, let's introduce ourselves, shall we?" As the Hope approached the mysterious planet, Kruma reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From a species on the brink of extinction to pioneers of a new galactic age, humanity had come so far. But not all was peaceful in the new galactic order. On the fringes of known space, rumors persisted of a growing threat. Some spoke of an extragalactic force drawn by the power vacuum left by the Zarkon. Others whispered of ancient sleeper civilizations awakening, unhappy with the changes in the cosmic status quo. In a secure facility beneath the Himalayan mountains, General Marcus Stone, now well into his 80s but still sharp as ever, pored over reports with a team of human and alien strategists. "We can't ignore these signs," he growled, his finger tapping on a star chart showing unusual activity at the galaxy's edge. "Peace is a precious thing, but it's also fragile. We need to be prepared." One of the alien strategists, a towering insectoid being, clicked its mandibles in agreement. "The humans have taught us the value of vigilance," it said, its translator conveying a tone of respect. "We will not be caught unprepared again." As the strategists debated and planned, their efforts were a reminder that humanity's journey was far from over. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, but the universe was vast and full of unknowns. Back at the Galactic Cooperative Celebration on Mars, the event was reaching its climax. As a symbol of unity and hope, representatives from each member species came together to plant a garden. Each plant was native to a different world, carefully geoengineered to thrive in the Martian soil. As Elena Rodriguez placed a cutting from an earth oak into the red soil, she felt a swell of emotion. This garden was more than just plants. It was a testament to how far they had come, and a promise of what they could achieve together. Suddenly, a murmur ran through the crowd. All eyes turned to the sky, where a dazzling light show had begun. It was a gift from the Etherians, a psychic projection visible to all, depicting the history of the galaxy. The fall of the Zarkon, the rise of the Cooperative, and at the center of it all, the tiny blue planet that had changed everything. As the images played out above them, Elena felt a presence beside her. She turned to see Nixera, the Zarkon who had helped bring about the end of the old empire. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Nixera said, her crystalline form reflecting the colors of the display above. "To think, not so long ago, we were mortal enemies." Elena nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "We've all come so far." "Indeed," Nixera agreed. "But the journey is far from over. There is still so much to learn, so much to explore." As they watched the galactic history unfold above them, a new image appeared. A representation of the unknown that lay beyond the edges of their charts. It was a reminder that for all they had achieved, the universe still held countless mysteries. In that moment, Elena felt a familiar spark, the same hunger for knowledge, the same desire to reach out and touch the unknown that had driven humanity to the stars in the first place. "You're right," she said to Nixera, a smile spreading across her face. "Our greatest adventures may still lie ahead." As the celebration continued, as children on Earth learned of their history, as explorers probed the depths of space, and as strategists prepared for unknown threats, humanity stood at the dawn of a new era. They had faced extinction and emerged not just survivors, but leaders. They had taken their place among the stars not through conquest, but through courage, creativity, and an indomitable spirit. The war that had nearly destroyed them had instead transformed them, awakening potentials they never knew they had. And now, as they looked to the future, they did so not with fear, but with anticipation. For they had learned the greatest lesson of all that together, united in diversity, there was no challenge they could not overcome, no frontier they could not explore. The story of humanity's rise from near extinction to galactic prominence would be told for generations to come. But it was not an ending. Rather, it was a beginning, the opening chapter of a cosmic saga that would unfold across the tapestry of stars, written by the combined efforts of countless species, with humanity proud to play its part. As the light of distant suns twinkled in the Martian sky, as the HSS Hope ventured into the unknown, as children on Earth dreamed of adventures among the stars, a simple truth echoed across the galaxy. Humanity had not just survived, they had thrived, and their greatest adventures were still to come.